Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin A.K. Tags.
Tyler Record of Days.
This is episode 166th episode of Forever Exiled. 166. That is, it's a large number. It's the highest number we've ever done for a podcast.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. Big
We've
shout
never
out.
done one higher.
Big shout out to our patrons. Richard, thank you for joining our Patreon this week. You rock. Thanks to all of our other patrons and people who support the podcast. We love your faces. And if you're curious what Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast, where we just continue to talk about stuff and things. And at a league launch, there's a lot of stuff and things. You know, there's a lot of stuff and things to talk about. So
I know.
Thank you all for your support. We love it. Hopefully you enjoyed your Christmas cards if you've gotten them already. And new patrons get them too. Up until December, when I run out of cards. Actually, speaking of, I have to buy more stickers. We're almost out of stickers.
I love stickers.
Again. This will be the second reorder. Yeah.
We should do magnets.
Everybody needs money bags. No.
Hey, Just.
Yeah, buddy.
Happy anniversary.
I know. Isn't that fun?
I know. We've been married now for 3 years.
This is December 12th will mark our third year of this podcast together.
And this episode comes out one day before that, does it not? Today is December 9th for us. So it'll be December 11th. So so Monday's the day.
Just 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd have thought? And also, I was looking back just out of curiosity, and I wanted to just thank everybody as well, because prior to us even recording this, we actually hit over 375,000 downloads, which is bonkers. So
in an audio only world, that's bonkers.
It is bonkers. Yeah, there's no sexy video of us rubbing shoulders together,
smushing cracks.
That's right. Maybe that. No, it won't. But yeah. Thank you everybody for your support. That's really cool. And it's exciting. It's fun.
Yeah, we really appreciate you helping out and making sure that we can get this far. And Justin and I have a ton of fun, and hopefully you are too. So,
yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate you all. You lovely people. How was your week, bud?
I don't remember, man. I had a good week. I mean, the kids, my son's at another sleepover again. It's like they had that taste, and now it's like every weekend.
Yeah, totally.
Today, so he's only in grade 2. Like, I don't even think I remember doing this stuff until I was in grade 5 or 6 or something like that. I was going for sleepovers, but he's in grade 2. And so today when I went to go pick him up
this time he's at a sleepover? Because last time they were at your place, right?
Yeah. And so this time he's at someone else's, and the mom of the kid was just going to pick him up from school. And I said that was fine, but I didn't want to send him with like his pajamas and toothbrush and all that kind of stuff over there. So to school, I mean, so I went with the backpack like I'd normally go to pick him up, and then we just swap backpacks. And then I don't want them, because kids and their stupid lunch kits, they're like, it's like a zoo in their lunch kit when they're finished, right? Unless they actually licked it clean, which you never give them food that they're going to lick clean. It's always stuff like, no, you have to eat your stupid apples. So anyway, it's always like a big mess. So I'm like, dude, I do not want
somebody else
sitting there overnight, and then you bring it back to me Saturday afternoon, and I just throw the whole thing in the garbage. I wouldn't do that, but that's what it would smell like. So I went and did the backpack swap with him, and he didn't even look back.
Oh yeah, that's
there was no like nervousness. He was just gone. Bye. It was going to be the best day of his life. So 4 boys.
Oh my gosh, fun.
4 grade 2s. So anyway, we'll see if we get another invite. But
there's going to be just who do you like?
Not even, man. Not even. You should have seen. They were watching. The mom of the boy was sending some pictures over, because it's exciting for them too. It's some of the first sleepovers for all the parents, and so she was sending some pictures over, and the guys were all cuddling. It was like they were all on one couch cushion, all with the blanket, all sharing chips and stuff. Fun. But it was like a total love fest. It was pretty cute. So,
that's cute.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I had a good week. It was just normal, taking the kids. Got to get some glasses, so. Got to try some of those on. And
for you,
perma glasses, perma
cool.
glasses. Violet's going to get hers hopefully this weekend. Perma glasses.
Are you farsighted or nearsighted? Like, do you struggle to see far or close?
A little bit of both.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna like bifocal or what?
Well, kind of. Yeah. There's this kind of it's not even called progressive lens. It's not bifocals or progressives. I forget the term that they called, but it's actually pretty seamless on how it works. And there's
you should get the ones that also like auto darken a little bit.
I don't like those.
I know, but it might help you.
I don't know, because my peripheral's not covered.
God,
right? If it did my peripheral, if I did a wraparound, no problem. Amazing. Give me the dark stuff, man. But no, I can't. But no, these are called anti-fatigue lenses.
Oh,
I
cool.
think they called them, but they're not called that anymore. But I don't know. Anyway,
cool.
Yeah, it was with a little bit of an emphasis on my concussion stuff as well. I want to emphasize that, but it was mostly, I can't see things that are far away, but I also need help seeing things close up.
Just a wreck.
It's a little bit of both.
Nice.
So anyway, no, it's a good week. How about you? You remember your week?
Yeah, work-wise was ridiculous. I thought it would be chilling by the end of this week. It's not. Maybe next week. And we had my daughter get sick on Thursday. She stayed home when we recorded last week on Friday because she had a fever. She had started that on Thursday. So we dealt with that all weekend and into the week. And
which daughter?
My youngest, Maya.
Okay.
And so she, in our area too, children's Tylenol is like gone. It just doesn't
non-existent
exist.
But it's been empty for
a long
months
time
now. Like we're not talking like you're showing up at the grocery store at the wrong time to find your Tylenol. It's just empty. It's like if you watch, I don't know what it's like anywhere else in the world, so sorry if this is redundant, but where we are, and this has been consistent for months now, when like those zombie movies, when
it's just empty.
Like, there's just like people have already ransacked the store and it's just like a complete empty mess. That's what it's like. You go there and there's nothing, but now there's not even like Ricola.
There's nothing. There's literally nothing.
No, because people are freaking out about all these colds and flus, so they're just taking anything they can get because there's no Tylenol. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. There's an RSV thing going around, especially with kids right now, and so in our area too, because there's a lack of Tylenol, parents are obviously getting worried because they can't control the fever because they have nothing to give the child. So then our emergency is quite backed up and full because there's a lot of kids in there because of this RSV virus that's going around. So thankfully we had a decent stockpile of stuff, and then I went out on Monday, I think, because we felt like we were getting low and starting to worry a little bit, and she was still dealing with this fever. So I went out and just happened in Walmart, they had like a whole thing, like a whole setup of children's Tylenol, and it was maximum 3 per family.
Yeah.
So I grabbed 3 and called my mom. I'm like, hey, go to Walmart later and buy 3 more.
Oh, good
just
for you.
In case. So
smart.
We didn't need them. Thankfully, her fever broke Monday evening. So we kept her home Tuesday. And then Tuesday she went out sledding just for 2 slides. They actually went to mail some stuff with my wife, my 2 daughters. And then they took a little sled that we had just got them.
Where did they go sledding? Can
at
you
the school,
describe it?
At the school on the hill, just a little. It's just a tiny little hill by like the rock area and the fence.
Yeah,
but it's a fast sled. And on the second run, which my wife had said to them, I don't think you should do it. And Sophia's like, they do it all the time at school. It's fine. On the second run, they ran into the fence and we're going so fast that my daughter, who was in the front, Sophia, her legs went under the fence and got pinned. She started to freak out, but in the process, she swung backwards from the crash, smacking Maya in the head and splitting open her head. And so I was at my desk on Tuesday working, and all of a sudden I hear the door open and I hear Sophia just yelling, Dad, Maya's bleeding, Maya's bleeding. And I'm like, what? So I start to get up from my desk to walk over to see what's going on. And as I turn the corner to look at the entrance, Maya and Christina are coming in, and Maya is just blood. Like her whole jacket is blood. Her whole face is blood, and her eyes are huge and her mouth is wide, and she's just staring at me. I'm like, what the fuck happened? So I got her laid down, got the bleeding to stop, took a look at it, and I was like, yeah, we're going to have to go in. So we spent Tuesday night in emergency, which was awful. And she got some stitches.
Packed with fevers.
It's packed. It's slow. They're understaffed because of all the layoff stuff nonsense. And now people, I don't know what's going on, but they're way understaffed in the hospitals. And so they don't even have pediatrics running. Like it's just everybody goes into the main part, which is awful for a 5-year-old. So we took her in. We knew she was going to have to get stitches. When we eventually get in, we were there for a total of 5 hours. It took us about 3 hours to actually get into the hospital part. Like we were in the waiting room for that long, which was disgusting. And then when we got into the main area, it's all the adults there too. The woman right beside us, and everything's just separated by sheets, right?
Yep.
The woman beside us had broken her femur and had just arrived shortly before. So she was still on the board because she had come through ambulance.
Yeah.
And while we were waiting, they had to get her leg onto the splint and get her off the board. dude, I have never heard crying and screaming where I felt it. Like it was awful. Yeah. And then Maya just like freaked out because she thought this lady was getting stitches.
You're right.
So she was like, oh, and then the stitches was a whole thing. Like they put the gel on. It stays there for 45 minutes. This doctor was amazing. The doctor that we had was incredible, especially with kids, but it's right at the eye. Like it's literally like right here, right on the eye. And so that means you can't
like
get it
kind of like really
it.
close to Justin's kind of pointing to his
if you kind of like
eyebrow.
draw your eyebrow down on the side of your eye, that's where it cut, like all the way down. So you can't get her to not look, right? Even if she's looking to the side, it's still there. Oh man, I was like, and she at 5 years old is like, a buddy of mine, when I was talking, he was laughing. He's like, it's like trying to hold down a wet pig. Like she just was not having it. It took after the first stitch.
We have experience with wet pigs.
Well, you can just imagine. It's got to be hard. So yeah, I was like holding down the legs and like trying to hold the head, and my wife was trying to hold the arms, and a couple times Maya whips her hand out and like she's saying to the doctor, "Get away from me. What are you doing?" Anyway, we negotiated while we were trying to get her to calm down, and the agreement was we would get her a Smushable. It's these like stuffed animal things that she really likes. And we said if as he's stitching and freezing and trying to do stuff, we're like, would that help? Like if we go get one? And she's like, yes. So after she got her stitches done, she ended up getting 4 stitches. We drove out the only place that was open and bought her a Smushable, and it was a good time.
She's gonna go cut her head open again for another one.
I know, right? And Christina was laughing to me afterwards. She's like, that's the best time for her to negotiate because you'll give her anything. I'm like, yes, 100%.
Yes, I will.
Not even a second thought. I do the same with all my kids. I hate taking kids to the hospital. It sucks. It's just, I would much rather be me. I hate watching a kid where you can't like fix it. You got to just sit through it. And then the only other thing I wanted to bring up was a thing that I realized over the last 2 weeks. And that is that I don't think I can ever take your recommendations for TV shows or movies seriously now. I don't know how to take them. And here's why. You told me you watched Midnight Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me about your thoughts, sort of the general story, but you know, what you thought about it. And I just happened to Google it because I was like, well, I'm curious what the ratings are on this show. I was looking for a show to watch. We watched the trailer for it, and Christina was like, no, I don't want to watch that. It looks too freaky. And even in the trailer, I was like, it's weird because the feeling I got from your review was that I was going to watch like a Billy Graham revival or, you know, a church at the Crystal Cathedral, or like just the way that you had described it about this like pastor coming, and I heard, you know, saving and preaching. I
say
watching
it's a secluded island, and a pastor
shit.
comes to an island, and weird stuff starts happening.
No, you got to listen back.
People getting slain by the Pentecostal power.
You talked about like the way you said it was as if it was like a little bit preachy. That's not what that show is.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. I just finished the last episode yesterday.
I did say that like there's lots of like they didn't shy away from a lot of the a lot of sermon stuff, a lot of biblical stuff. Like there's still like it's very much a part of the dialogue, but yeah, it's a horror show.
It was good. I really enjoyed it. It was dark. It was
well, you see, that's the thing though.
It was good.
The best part about it was not knowing what was coming. If I tell you too much, then
I thought I was going to watch like, you know, a Bill Gaither sing along or something. Like I felt like I was going to be watching like some I don't know, some old school preachy thing, but it was not that. I liked it. It was good. And
that's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, my week was good, but I didn't have any time to prep for this league launch that just came out at all.
Gotcha.
I didn't think about it till I messaged you, and I was like, I need another day. I don't have it.
Right on.
So, but yeah, let's talk about some other stuff, and then we'll get into 320.
One quick emerge thing. One of the times when we went with Oliver to get stitches, we also were next to somebody who had a absolutely horrendous injury, but he didn't feel it when they were screaming.
Yeah,
like what happened was he was cleaning out his gutters and his ladder fell. So he grabbed onto his gutters and the gutters ripped into his fingers all the way down, all eight. And they were doing stitches like all the way like in, and he was screaming and the profanities coming out of his mouth to the point where they had doctors come in to yell at him that there was children close by.
Yeah.
And I whispered to the doctors, I'm like, say what you need to do, but don't worry about my kids. My mother-in-law watches hockey the exact same way.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry. The kids know they're going to hear swearing and they're just not allowed to say it.
I mean, I feel like though, as an adult,
when you
getting stitches.
But he was one of those guys that was like,
okay,
that's just what was going to come out of his mouth, even if he was just licking an ice cream cone.
This lady, though, it was the pain. Like where you know how when you're trying, she was trying so hard to not cry and scream. And that's what just got me. I was like, I've not felt someone ever just like cry and scream to where I'm feeling pain for her. It was awful.
I remember like 20 plus years ago, when someone in our grade was playing rugby and had to get their femur reset on the field before moving on. And I wasn't anywhere close, and I heard it, and I still remember it and get all curly and stuff.
So nasty.
Okay, so now we start
Path of Exile.
Actually, so here's the thing. Didn't take any notes. We're not doing our normal.
No, we're just going
routine. Next week we're going to do the normal routine where it's like, so this week in PoE and chit chat about some of that stuff. But so we'll do a little bit more of a catch up. But we just want to get. I know we're like 18 minutes in, but we actually want to get started. But one thing I did want to point out from this week is one of the div cards, the wedding gift.
Yeah, Suzu.
That gives Arakali's, I'm not even going to say that right, Arakali's Fang, is from is someone that listens, and they contribute in our Discord. Yeah, the wedding gift, Suzu from,
that's very cool.
From our community did that. So that's awesome. Suzu was awesome.
Yep.
Pretty exciting to hear you say that, and it was kind of cool to hear you say, oh yeah, I got a div card, but I'm not allowed to tell you about it yet, and that kind of stuff. So it was exciting to see what it was, and how cool is it when you actually have a div card that everybody's impressed with. It's like, finally, yes, and people are excited. You're not hearing anybody go like with their Reddit voice or whatever it is. So yeah, good
people
job,
were asking
Susan.
like how they go about it, which was cool. Like,
yeah, it was nice here in the background.
So.
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, cool.
Congrats.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I'm really disappointed about last week's episode, because we forgot to mention how often we laughed. We talked about this in the After Dark, but we didn't talk about it in the regular episode. Right. But the Ziggy interview, I laughed a lot. They were hilarious. Like, I complimented them on how well they did. We did, but I forgot to mention how funny it was. Like, all that portfolio diversifying and that theme that just accidentally ran through it. Man, I laughed. So anyway.
All right, let's get into it.
There's my little snippets. Now let's wing it.
Forbidden Sanctum came out today, 3.20. Let's just start from the top. League launch seemed fine. Servers went well.
Smooth. I was around number 10,000, and that ticked by 30. Real fast. I was in a no time. I passed the axe before you logged in. No big deal.
Yep. So it seemed pretty smooth for us at the beginning. I don't know. What are you playing? What's your plan? What'd you start with?
So I just before you messaged, when, I had to like restart because Discord was giving me issues, but I just unlocked the Reaper. So I just finished killing Gravicius.
Oh, fun.
And unfortunately, a lot of the supports that I want for that aren't available for the Witch until I get Lily. But some of them are only when I get Lily. I can't even get them from Fixture of Fate. But yeah, I just unlocked the Reaper. And thank you. And I'm really excited for it. So I'm doing an Elementalist. I think I've mentioned this before, but just in case, I'm doing an Elementalist with the Reaper. And a big draw to the Elementalist for me was the auto spawning golems, right? The Reaper, if the wiki is correct, does consume a minion, sometimes randomly, but but also because it needs health. And that cooldown for, hey, I'm going to check to see if I can consume someone to regain some health, has a 6-second cooldown. And with very little investment outside of the fact that I'm choosing the Elementalist for this, which of course I guess is a massive investment and choice, I'll have 4 golems, and they all have a 4-second cooldown once they die, right? They automatically get respawned every 4 seconds. So 4 seconds to get one up, but then this Reaper only does it every 6 seconds. So that was a nice combo. I'm only going to be doing 2 different types of golems out of the 4 golems. I'm just going to do the chaos golem and the stone golem just for the sake of space. But then I'm also guaranteed to have that defensive mitigation or the life regen, no matter which one's consumed. So I like having consistent buffs, not inconsistent buffs. So that's the idea with that. But then I am quite turned on by the Bastion of Elements keystone, where you get a certain amount of flat elemental mitigation based on how many notables you've selected in the tree.
Yep.
Do you know, I haven't looked this up. Every time it's come into my head, I've been distracted by something else. Now that masteries have been introduced, do masteries count as notables?
I don't know. I would assume no. Not. I would assume no, but I don't know. I'm pretty certain they don't, but I'm sure someone will tell us.
Jewel sockets aren't considered notables either, right? Those are just jewels.
I don't know. Well, jewel sockets, no, but I'm not actually sure about things that are on like a cluster jewel.
Those would.
Yeah, the jewel itself wouldn't. Oh man, would it?
I don't know. It's just because like that's a really powerful one. But I mean, if it has a different tag, that would make sense. But anyway, that was just something I was thinking of with the masteries, because the masteries are super strong, just like a notable. But they're probably just considered masteries and not notables. Anyway, when I do the math in my head and I'm thinking about this, I always do the bare minimum. So I wasn't counting anything except for the actual notable tags. And then what else? I could go with the chill, might go with shock, but you know how the elementalist has those 3 keystones where or ascendancy nodes where if you hit, you have a minimum shock or a minimum chill or a guaranteed chance to ignite. So I'm gonna, depending on where I'm at, I have a lot of defense already on my tree. So I'm aiming to go with shock, but if I find for some reason that I'd prefer the chill, then I will. But yeah, I have not every minion damage node on the tree. That's the plan anyway, but it's some of them, a good amount. And then I have, without any gear, I'm looking at 86% physical damage mitigation and 79 and 80% capped elemental resists. I mean, nice. I'm not going to be capped on resists without gear, but my cap will be 79 and 80, and that's without needing any gear. And then I have, what's the other stuff? Just a quick sec, almost there. So this is the plan anyway, but it's I haven't played it into maps before, so we're going to see. Can you still hear me? I'm twisting my head really weird to get this up. My other skills, let's see. Dread Banner, because I'm going with Impale. I want to see how Impale works with the Reaper. I like all the how often it hits. And Enfeeble, which is with Blasphemy, and Flesh and Stone, and Petrified Blood.
Nice.
I love Petrified Blood. It lets a slow reactor, like, you know, I have some time to hit my life blast just ahead of time. And how can you deny the claw? Like, that's like hanging on to your life bar. That's so cool.
It does look cool.
Oh, man. And then I have, Clarity, Flesh and Stone, and Vitality are using up that 50% for me.
I wonder when they're going to come out with MTX that affects your UI. Like, they could make MTX that affects like your life pool or your
that'd be really
mana
cool.
pool or something.
That would be awesome. Man, I'd get that in a heartbeat. I love that permanent stuff. I love that. And one thing that I'm kind of having fun with, but I have my Chaos Golem linked to Feeding Frenzy, of course, for the bonus, but then it's going to have Calling Strike and Item Rarity support.
Oh, okay.
And the Chaos Golem has that ranged attack as well. I did some testing because I always picture the Chaos Golem doing this waddle like a duck, but then it has this Chaos aura around it where it does some damage. I always just picture it doing that. I'm like, well, does the Chaos Golem even hit? Because I've never actually paid attention to the Golem itself, that specific one. I always normally just do it for the perk. And but they actually do quite a lot of melee, and they have a really long smash that reaches halfway across the screen. So with that, that melee projectile per se, that's the one I'm clicking to. Calling Strike and Item Rarity.
Why not connect both golems to it and do a 4-link?
Well, because I want Feeding Frenzy, Calling Strike, and Item Rarity.
Oh, I see.
And so, yeah. So then the other one I'm just going to attach to Meat Shield, so that takes a little bit of attention away from myself.
You need a unique that gives minions Calling Strike. I don't think there is one. They should make one.
I think there is.
Is there one that just all minions just straight up have Calling Strike?
Rings a bell.
I mean, there probably is. There's a billion uniques, so.
I don't know any of them.
Interesting.
Except for Dying Breath. Is it Dying Breath? That's the curse one. The curse staff with auras and curses.
Yep.
Love that one. Yeah. So anyway, that's me. That's my goal. But I mean, I just unlocked the Reaper. I've been leveling with SRS. SRS is fantastic. I'm loving it. And I had that. I prefer minion speed with stuff like SRS and Summon Phantasms. The sooner they get to their target, the better it is, right? I find, especially with the 5-second duration, or even if you go with up to 8 seconds, the amount of half that's gone by the time they get to the enemies. So I like minion speed with those, even though it's not DPS-y. But how about you? Tell us about your build before we actually get into our gameplay.
I'm going RF. I didn't have time. I wanted to do Volcanic Fissure, but I didn't get a chance to look at like the 2020 gems. I didn't know what the numbers were like for Volcanic Fissure, so I didn't want to take a chance. I don't usually take a chance on a brand new skill.
Take a chance. Yeah.
So I still would like to if it looks like it's going to be good, but RF's always been a favorite skill of mine, and this time I actually decided to just pull up Pox's RF Jug because I love the idea of just going Jug with almost anything. It's just fun because you're so defensive. So yeah, I went. So the way Tyler and I typically record doesn't work well for League launches. So in this case, we record much later than normal, so we could actually play the League launch. And I finished Act 5, so I unlocked what is it, Lily?
Mm-hmm.
I finished that one real quick, and then I went RF right after my very first ascendancy.
First one, good for you.
So I think at 35, I went to RF, somewhere around there, 34, 35.
And is it pretty casual at 35 with the tree that he has?
Yeah, well, you're so defensive. There's so much like resists. Even now that I finished the first Katava, I'm way over capped, and I'm at 79 fire and 77 cold and lightning, I think, somewhere around there.
Is that all because of endurance charges?
No, not at all endurance charges. That's just from the tree. Like there's just so much that you can get. So yeah, so far it's been fun.
Is that for everything or just fire?
Fire 79 and my other two are 77. So, and I think.
Oh yeah, that makes sense with where the jug starts. Yeah,
it's not super far to get that kind of stuff. I at this point right now I could finish all of the acts and still be overcapped with how much resist I have. So that side of the tree is so nice for all that. There's just so much like plus 15 resist, plus 5 resist, even as you're getting other stats too. So yeah. So far it's been pretty good. I'm not great at following guides. I tend to just like to see the tree and then figure it out because I don't want to read. I have no interest. I don't have the time to like try and read through notes or skill connections or anything like that. So I do like getting an idea of the tree though. So
is it a basic Righteous Fire build or is it fancy in any way?
I wouldn't.
Like, you see any of the gem combos yet?
Nope. I haven't looked at any of it. So I don't know.
Well, you've played Righteous Fire quite a few times though.
The last number of times I've played were Inquisitor. So it's quite a bit different. Inquisitor, you can't even touch RF until you've at least finished the Cruel Lab. And I don't even know how that would be now that Pious Path was changed. I assume it's probably still fine, but RF Jug is just so tanky. It literally, that very first point, unnerving or whatever, it's just like, here's a piss load. I can read it to you. Oh, sorry, untiring. 40% increased life regen, 1.5 physical damage prevented from hits in the past 10 seconds is regenerated as life per second. So like just out of that one note alone, your life regen just goes up by such a huge amount. So yeah, it's I will probably be going towards the endurance charges towards my Cruel Lab, but
is that what PoE says to do? Which ones do you end up going for?
I haven't even looked at how it looks in let's see, I can tell you. Unflinching, so endurance charges, which is where I would have gone. Yeah. And then unyielding for the damage area of effect per endurance charge.
Yeah.
And then unbreakable.
Where's unbreakable?
Unbreakable is armor received from body armor is doubled. 8% of armor applies.
Yeah, that 8% of armor applying to fire, cold, and lightning from damage taken from hits.
It's big.
Yeah, cool.
So that's the goal. Like I said, I finished Act 5, and so far it's been. I haven't died. I have my concerns when it comes to Forbidden Sanctum, which we'll definitely be talking about. But overall, the leveling, I will say, I love No AN. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, me too. It is a lot easier, which I assume they aren't a fan of, but I expect that it's going to be so much more
beginning.
difficult come mapping. Like I like a relatively easy campaign if you know what you're doing. Like to me, the experience needs to pay off. I definitely don't want to take my time with the campaign, and as the sooner I'm done, the better. So if we know, like you and I are the type of people where we know the types of skills we like to use, we know how fast we like to go through it, we're used to how it should work. I don't mind that. I don't think that's a bad thing. Whereas you get a new person coming through, they're using the campaign to test new stuff and figure out combinations. And so I can see some of these encounters definitely being scary for them, especially
and
with some of the
if you die
rares.
right now, at least you can look and see what it was. When you're dead, mousing over doesn't show you Flamebreaker. Like you can see what it was. They've got the little icons now, which there wasn't much information, but at least we didn't look in the help. I didn't look in the help, but it seems that if there's a little icon to the right, they're defensive towards it, and an icon on the left, they have stronger versions of that.
That's my assumption. Yeah,
that's what it seemed like so far. But it's just even the stat or even just the modifiers. There's words. It's very black and white as to what the modifier does, and I really like that, and it made for me the leveling process more enjoyable so far, because I haven't been like, this mob, like I'm just gonna keep running. What's the point?
Right. Yeah. And I liked it a lot. I liked that I could actually hover over it and find it. Now I'm using controller support. There were a few times where I was like, there was a couple rares where I'm like, what the heck is that? Like there was like some storm lightning guy that was 3 screens away. I killed the rares that were around me and the lightning storm's still there. And I'm like, what is going on? Is there like a lingering AN? But then it was just some guy coming and he had like a lightning storm and it said it there. And then I killed him and he was gone. But there was a couple where I'm like, what is this? What is going on? But I couldn't highlight it.
Yeah, with controller, sure.
Right. And then by the time because there were just so many other enemies, and then by the time they died. So still hoping, like I'm still so excited for that part of Path of Exile 2, where they had like the permanent boss bars. And yes, I know that's boss bars, not rare bars, but I hope they do permanent rare bars too, because that would be cool. But I've had a very enjoyable experience going through the campaign so far. And there's still been some circumstances where I'm like, oh, gotta get out. Oh, gotta get out. Oh, gotta get out. Granted, most of those are in the Forbidden Sanctum, which some of those encounters are a lot of fun. Some of them not so fair, but some of them are quite fun.
Well, let's get into Forbidden Sanctum and sort of overview of it.
Yeah,
it is early. Yeah. That's my feeling. I actually think
it's day 1.
It's barely finishing day 1. We're like halfway through day 1. My feeling currently, I love
10 hours.
Right. I love the concept of the Forbidden Sanctum. Love it. I think the mechanic itself, really cool. The building the floors took us a while to figure out. Thank you to everybody in Global 2121 for helping us out. But figuring out what's a floor, what's a room, what's a sanctum. I didn't realize it was actually. I thought a
floor was the vertical
rooms.
Line. I didn't know the floor was the entire image you saw at first. I thought that.
And you do that 4 times. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
So that the concept, the core behind Forbidden Sanctum is exciting to me. I feel a little bit right now like the very beginning of Heist, where in Heist there was that issue in the beginning where when you had to deal with just the normal mobs, you were fighting with them to try and control your, getting caught bar. I have some issues with how the resolve works in Forbidden Sanctum. I know that they were trying to find ways to make it friendly for melee and things that fight in close range, and I don't think that it's there. I don't think, and again, one of the big shifts for me has been to accept the fact that I'm not meant to clear it. You know what I mean? Like he was pretty emphatic on, you aren't going to beat it. You're going to have to keep coming back, which I am okay with. I just get frustrated when I feel like if a normal mob melees me, I shouldn't lose resolve. But if a normal mob or a boss mob is using one of their telegraphed moves and I get hit by it, then that to me is fair. Like, okay, well, they did a move that you were about to see, and it shot something out. And if you got hit by that or stood in it, that to me is fair. But for a melee character or for RF, for example, when I'm close, there's not another option. Like I'm just going to get hit. And so I was testing it just to see, like, if I sit through the normal melees, it's quite a bit of resolve. It's not like it's some small amount. And maybe that changes as you progress and as you build up these relics. Like maybe that does get better, but I feel like right now it's a little bit painful for a melee. Like some of the bosses, like I'm excited as you get through, you're going to find some of these more bosses and more of these, unique guys you have to kill. Not even talking about just the end of the first floor boss, but just normal, guards, I think they call them, that you have to defeat. Some of their moves they do, it's not, I can barely see it. And I'm not,
really?
it's not,
yeah.
Like I'm not running one of the RFs that's super hard to see, but it's not very clear to be able to see it. And I still will say I'm fine if I get hit by a boss's telegraph move, something's on the ground. But there's like one range dude just puts all these red circles and they just constantly go, but they go.
He's standing in like the
range.
middle of the room.
That's a different boss. This is an arrow dude, but these red and yellow circles will keep bouncing around him. That am I supposed to just leave and just wait for that to run out? Like I can't. I feel like it's very detrimental in the Forbidden Sanctum for a melee character versus range. I mean, they give you so many corners to hide around. Like if you were playing something that tracked an enemy, just sit back, cast, and you're fine.
I think some of maybe the idea of the roguelike is that there are some things that you just have to back up and wait for, even if they're not a boss, but maybe the skill itself is bossy. So I did find though, as the opposite, as a projectile, and now overall I'm having a fantastic time with the game, with the league mechanic. But I'm finding, so I'm leveling through as SRS. I've done Act 1, Act 2, partway through Act 3. And with some of the stuff I've found, in a league mechanic where you're trying not to get hit, period, to have teleporting enemies, no.
Yeah, that one boss is nuts.
But there's other just normal enemies that teleport right to you. And but you can't see it. Like it is a busy screen, even though I think they've done a very good job at clarity within the fight, but there's still sometimes lots happening, especially if you're fighting with co-op, especially if you're using minions, whatever it is. And so all of a sudden someone teleports to you, you can't even see them. You swear, like you were positive you cleared this room, there's nothing behind you. Then all of a sudden, and there's some enemies that their projectiles are from off screen. Like the tell is in their action, not in, oh no, this really slow frost bolt is coming towards me. It's like, no, it's like it's coming fast. And when it's already on the way, it's really hard to get out of the way, especially in Act 1, 2, and 3. I have 10% movement speed on my boots. I can't get out of here. Like my frost
you know the boss you were talking about that stands in the middle?
Oh my goodness, I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to go. Nuts. They were so big, but then it was so
they're quick. They're not slow.
It was, yeah. My movement skills, I couldn't get my movements, the cool down back fast enough. I was in situations where I'm around a corner and the boss can't see me and those circles just show up right underneath me, but in such like a wide AoE and they're overlapping that I had no hope. No hope.
So I'm trying to figure out if maybe as we get further into the league and leveling and getting more power, maybe it changes and then maybe that is the goal. It's just like you're going to suffer in the beginning. I will say, as much as I got frustrated, I was purposefully losing some if I knew my resolve was low, because it was better off for me to start a new one, complete maybe 1 or 2 rooms, because the XP you got from completing just a single room was substantial. Like
the XP is 30%. Amazing. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like we're running some sort of special unique map every time we go in. It's fantastic.
I heard people too talking about like not feeling like the rewards were good, but my feeling was once I realized what a floor was and then what that meant a sanctum was, it was a no-brainer that if I had an option, I was taking the top option. It's there. I'll take my chaos or my whetstone or whatever it is. I actually felt like the rewards were relatively fine because I don't feel like it's fair to be just getting showered in alchemies in the first 4 or 5 acts.
No, and definitely not in your first 4 or 5 rooms. Like
especially
you do the
if
whole
I've been given 20% XP too. I'll trade an alchemy for 20% of a level any day.
Yeah.
So I felt like they were kind of fair, but again, I did pass the first floor. I fought the first boss. It's always the same boss at the end of the first floor. It's the one from the video. Like I
got there once and I almost beat it.
Oh, and so that's where you get the relics.
But I had 100 but there was another boss that boss with all the big circles that stands in the middle. It's like a big reser.
Yeah.
That was in the middle of a thing. That wasn't the end.
That was just a random dude.
Surprise! guys? And I love that, by the way. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I was fighting the candle guy, and I had like 150 left over, and I'm ducking, I'm dodging, I'm having a fantastic time. I'm like, yeah, I'm no hitting this. I'm doing an Enki Dark Souls 3 no hit run, and one hit takes away all of it.
Wow,
all of
really?
it. I'm like, what? I was doing so well. I don't know how it was, if I was late or if there was no cooldown. Like, I don't remember the circumstance. I wasn't recording at the time because it was kind of close to when we were going to start. And I lost like 150 resolve in one hit. I'm like, oh man,
that's
the only way that's resolve. Fair
is if it was wickedly telegraphed. If there was something that was so telegraphed,
if it was.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
it was. It was a longer fight for me because I'm using SRS, but I'm like, run, tap once, run, tap once. So I've got like 5 SRS and then max. What are those things called? Phantasms. And so I don't know. And I wasn't recording, but I'll definitely do it again. So about the relics.
Yeah.
I think there's something missing when introducing people to the system, because I'm getting relics, but I can't apply them. In the small help section, where it's not like the F1 help, but when for me I push down on the analog stick and I get, the description, it says I got to do this, but I'm like, I got to go all the way there to get the relic. And I'm like, oh man, I got to beat that boss to get to like actually open up a relic slot. I can't apply any relics until I beat that candle boss.
The relics are set at the beginning of every Sanctum floor run. So you pick which relics at the very beginning of the run, which means at the very beginning of the first floor in the very first room, that's where you set the relics for your upcoming run. And when you click on that, it will open up your relic inventory and you can apply whatever you can fit into it, and then you save it, and that is now set for the whole rest of your Sanctum run until you die or it runs out.
Right, but I can't apply any relics. There's no space. I got the bottom left corner as one square and the top right corner as one square. No,
those are empty. No, the whole center is open. The whole center of it. There's a 2x4 section right in the middle. Top left and top right are actually dead spaces. They'll never open, and then the rest are locked, and they unlock as you progress through the Sanctum.
I have no idea how it wasn't applying to me. Like, there was nothing that I could do that could put them in. Every single time, no matter which screen I was in with these, the only option was to take the item. There was nothing to apply it. There was nothing to pick it up. I could not interact with that screen.
The only spot you can do it in the whole game, and it's not explained, is at the very first room of a Sanctum start. That's the only spot.
And
From there you should be able to.
I couldn't interact with it.
Huh. I'd have to see. Maybe there's something weird with controller support. But
yeah, maybe.
That is where you do it.
It could have also been user error, but I feel like I tried everything. Like, I really wanted it to work. So, so I was kind of stuck with the 300 resolve and without any of those perks. But I got a second one, that big boss that I don't know how I beat it, because I was like, I'm getting hit. I can't escape. But then all of a sudden it died. I got a relic.
Oh, did you? I had gotten one extra relic and it was poop. It like randomly will show me a floor tile. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Can I please have something good? But I love that part of it though. That's such a fun thing that you're slowly building that up, and it's going to help you as you progress. And that's what I'm trying to get into my head. Like, there's so many relics, so many things that can roll on them. Maybe there's stuff in there that has bigger effects than that I have no idea about yet that will change it, because it would make sense, because in a roguelike, the idea is you're building up stuff to make your runs get progressively easier, but it's still going to always be difficult, because the further you progress, the harder it gets.
Sure.
That I'm fine with. So I'm having to tell myself that that's what it's meant to be. I just feel like to have a random enemy just do a normal melee attack isn't a good reason to lose resolve. I don't feel like I should. I feel like I should 100% if I stand in something that's telegraphed. If there's something on the ground, or there's, like even the normal mobs do telegraphed hits. The big, huge dudes do the ones where they put the stuff on the ground. If I stand in those bubbles when he explodes them, I deserve to lose resolve. But if it's just a melee
unless you're
swing,
using Celestial RF.
Oh man, I
Celestial
can't even imagine
RF,
somebody. You're done. Yep. You're just done. So I'm excited to play it and see what they do with it. I want to just quickly bring up though that it is, in my opinion, awful for multiplayer.
I unfortunately agree with you. And here's the thing. I am having a lot of fun with it, but I think the most fun I have with it is just like the specific gameplay. You know what I mean? Like it's the same whether I'm by myself or I'm with you. I am having fun. Like my whole game is don't get hit, don't get hit, and so it's the same game no matter what it is. But when you and I were playing together, it was a garbage multiplayer experience. It really was. And I know they talked about it, and it seemed like with Chris's like reaction, his body language when he was in the Ziggy interview talking about multiplayer, that it was like they were kind of resigned, like this is the best we could do based on how we need to avoid, you know, those like group interactions that take advantage of certain things or mechanics and abuse. So it was like they were kind of settling on this, it seemed. That was just body language. I could be completely wrong, but that's just what it seemed like. But yeah.
Would it be bad
for people that don't abuse stuff? It sucks.
So I have a question for you. I'm just going to quickly tell people, though, if you haven't played in multiplayer, the way that it works is if I start the zone, I enter the zone first, it's now my sanctum. Whoever opens the zone first, whoever opens the map, that's their sanctum. Tyler and I can go into the sanctum. I choose which room we're going to do next. Currently, he cannot see that. First off, I have to give them huge props. This new thing they're doing with their little ticker of changes.
Yes.
Love it. I freaking love it. I think that's amazing. I love that I have one spot to go to see their shit. I don't have to go try and search through it in Reddit.
It just
100% one of my favorite things they've ever done.
And all Path of Exile people said, amen.
Exactly. It's so good. So they have noted that people have been talking about that. What?
Well, I'm going to go bring up the RAQ, and just like when it was freaking League launch, the stupid site's down.
So anyway, currently they're saying that they're trying to figure out or they're looking into it, but Tyler can't even see my sanctum. He can't see what my options are for a room. He can't see what the options are for the rewards. And it seems unnecessary to block that. It should be fine for him to see it. I'm the only one that can pick it. So that's the first issue.
Can you remember your other issues? Can I talk about? Oh, here, I'll write it down.
No, go for it. Bring it up. If it's about that.
If I can see where, like, it's not like it's a whole list of map mods that the other users need to see. You can be like, oh, we're getting slowed down. Or, oh, this is going to happen in this room. Or, oh, I'm just going to get less auras or whatever they're called. The money. But
it's still good for everybody to know.
Right. When you're playing in a party, it's like, oh, no, don't do that one because I can do this and I can carry us in this one. And then it's like, oh, no, you know what? You should do this one because this, you know, it's like you get to talk about it. You get to experience the game more. Right.
Maybe some ideas for where it's going to go.
To guide you. And so, yeah, it's more minds in one thing. And that's what co-op is. So I do, though, they said they're looking into making that visible for the whole party, even though only one person can control it.
Yeah, which I feel they will. I feel like that will be something they will fix and it will come up. That's the first issue. The second issue, and I completely understand why it is a thing, is that the Aureus or Oris coins or whatever they're called, they are only dropped for the person who runs the sanctum, which that does make sense to me. As much as it's kind of annoying, I do like the fact that they at least made it that if it's my sanctum and Tyler clicks a Templar chest and picks them up, that's perfect because I get them. I don't have to run over to that chest and find them because he's walked over them. Yeah. They're automatically given to me. I will say it's not Expedition, because in Expedition, when you click the chest, it's automatically put into your inventory. You actually have to walk over it, which I know it's minor,
you know what?
But still.
I actually agree. This is a game where you're desperately trying to not get hit, not where you're trying to stay alive. You're trying to not get hit. So adding that little extra touch of not making any of the users, like I do really like that. You also don't know they're there.
You don't know that they're there unless you look for a sparkly yellow. You don't actually know that there's something there waiting to be picked up. It's weird to me that they didn't make it like Expedition, like they said, because they said it in the video. Click the chest, you get the, or whoever the sanctum owner is. I feel like you should just click the chest and get the
just
currency.
Like even when we do Expedition co-op, I click the chest, you get whatever it is that you were going to get.
Yeah,
and I do like that. Yeah, that would be a nice touch.
Yeah, and then my final. And this is, to me, I feel like a really big gripe and deal, is when we finish a room that has a reward, when I choose that reward, if I choose something to drop right now, that drop for some reason follows the multiplayer drop rule. And it's so bizarre to me to say everything up until this point is for the Sanctum runner and owner. But then at the end, when they choose the reward that they want, which also nobody else can even see those options. You can't see them. You don't know what they are. That they follow a drop rule, and all of a sudden my alchemy that I picked now drops for Tyler to pick up. I don't understand that. And I don't know if that was them just going like, hey, this is why it's multiplayer friendly. And in my opinion, it's like, no, Tyler, I at least appreciate that we both get XP. I don't know how you fix that. I really don't, without it being some sort of way to abuse it. But it's very bizarre, because I was saying to Tyler, let's say we get to the point where we can clear sanctums and we build sanctums based on the more difficult stuff, and I'm picking the stuff that I want to push to the end of the sanctum, then the stuff drops and it doesn't even drop for me in my sanctum. It drops as if it's just a normal drop. I don't understand that part. And I'm actually not done. I thought I was done. The whole everybody can get hit to lose resolve is okay. That I do understand why they have to do that, because otherwise I could just open the sanctum, you run in and kill stuff, and if it doesn't drop. So I do understand why they have to do that, and I don't think there's ever a fix to that. But if it's my sanctum, this is the part that threw me off. If it's my sanctum, we're running through and it's kill the guards. So let's say there's 2 guards in the zone. We kill the guards, or even if it's not 2 guards, maybe it's just find the exit. And I run forward and find the exit. When I leave the sanctum and go into that room.
I thought you had to clear every room.
No, they're different. Some are like kill the guards, which are those like unique guys. Some are just find the exit. So you literally just need to get to the exit as fast as you can. It doesn't matter who you kill.
Wow.
But when I leave the sanctum and go into that final room to like pick my reward and then leave, the rest of my party can still decrease my resolve. And that floored me, because the exit doesn't open up until you've completed the quest. Find the exit, kill the guards. It doesn't open up. If I complete the quest and I, as the sanctum runner or owner, leave, why can my resolve still drop from my party members who are still? I don't get that. That really confused me, because we tested it, and sure enough, when I was in the room, my resolve dropped if Tyler or our buddy Josh got hit. So
I think it would be because then we could still do damage to something, they could still drop something, and then you could come back.
But they don't. I don't know if they. I mean, I guess they
you can come back. But I mean, just disable. Like as soon as you leave, that room's disabled. Disable it. Right, like
or like pull the party out or something. I don't know. Like it's
perfect. Like how you enter. I don't have to click anything for you to enter, and I think that's actually really cool. We all start at the same time.
Cool. I love being sucked into it.
Right, just like ritual, man. Like Justin's 2 screens away. We start a ritual. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's right.
Through a time machine. So if they do something like that when you leave, perfect, because then they don't have to worry about, and then maybe have the restriction that you can't go back in. You're done.
I don't think you
if you didn't feel like exploring,
I don't actually think you can.
There is a door.
I don't know if there's a door to get back into the sanctum.
Wow. So anyway, I agree that when I didn't know you'd left, and I was still doing some fighting, and I was losing you. Oh no, my game froze. That's right. It stuttered. My game froze, and I thought it was going to crash to the desktop. And then it was like 5-6 seconds. It was a long time. And then all of a sudden, half your resolve was gone.
Just disappeared. Yeah. And I wasn't even in the area. I was in the area picking the reward.
The whole time.
I think most of these things are minor things that they can probably figure out, but they make it not fun to do it in multiplayer. Like it's actually, I can progress much further solo, and clearly you can too, because you got to the last boss. It was really tough to do it in a multiplayer environment. And maybe if you're in multiplayer, the percentage of resolve loss should be adjusted. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a party of 3 people, each person's only taking like 75% of what they would normally decrease the resolve by or something. I don't really know what the solution is, but it's really not multiplayer friendly. I don't think at all right now. Besides the XP, I like the XP.
Oh, the XP is sexy, man. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, but I do really like the concept behind the Forbidden Sanctum. I'm just looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like in a week or 2. Once they unless they think perfect, but I just think there's some adjustments that can be made to make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them buff rewards though. And I haven't seen anything end wise. I feel like it's fair reward wise.
Right. I want to see, after someone has done 20 different completed sanctums, I want to hear their opinions to what the rewards are. Someone who's chosen this, quite a few times, and then this other option quite a few times. And like, I want to see, because it stacks. That's the whole thing. Like, it's going to suck. It's going to get larger, but you get better rewards if you're beating the Sanctum, and you can, and that's the whole purpose. So I really hope they do stick to their guns. And yeah, I hope everybody's having, even if, like, as Justin's been saying for himself, he needs to reset his mentality. He's not going to be successful on all of his runs. It's something you have to build up towards. And so hopefully people are having tons of fun per hour doing it. At the end of the day, yeah, we've had some disappointments with multiplayer, and some off-screen stuff.
Yeah, the melee kind of bothers me. I will say too, it's kind of funny to try and adjust. Sorry to interrupt you, but to try and adjust your mentality, as you say, when you come out of a Sanctum to being fine being hit. It's really weird how that quickly your mind can like
transition. But I come back in and I don't know, it's an uncomfortable transition to go from weird. Never want it does. It feels weird to go from, okay, I can't get hit to, all right.
Now when you first come out, you see a bunch of enemies, you're like, I can't do this. What? Right. It's just like half second of like, wait a minute, I can't.
Right.
It's impossible.
And then you go into a Sanctum, you get teleported in, and you're like, Rah! You start charging, and you're like, oh, no, I forgot. So, yeah.
I think the more we play it, we'll probably start to, because I did notice there was this thing where when you get one of the fountains, a specific one, it gives you a boon. You can buy a boon. They can give you random things. I saw somebody talking in 2121 that they got a plus 60% movement speed for the rest of their run from this boon. I got a boon that added 200 inspiration every time you go into a room. So like,
I got a boon that reduced monster action speed for the rest of the Sanctum by 15%.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of that stuff that's really cool. I would like to see myself be punished because I did something wrong, which is I stood in the way of something that was telegraphed and that was obvious to see. Totally fine with that. I just don't like it when it's just a random melee attack. And I think they have done a good job of not cluttering it in the sense of you're fighting lots of monsters at the same time. But I just find that some of their attacks are still kind of hard to see, especially if you're fighting on top of the boss. It can be quite difficult to see where they're placing some. And I think maybe that's just a bit of learning all the different bosses that there are. And again, that's part of a roguelike too. So yeah, it is a bit of a weird mentality for me of just going like, okay, you're going to suck at some of this. And just accept the fact that you're going to redo it. And most of the reason that I've been totally fine with that is because I'm going, at least I'm getting 10% XP, 15% XP when I complete it.
Right. You don't lose. You don't lose unless you actually die. I guess you can lose your health bar too, but
I haven't died.
I've never even looked at my health bar because my whole point is to not get hit. So I don't even know if you can heal in there, but
I would assume you lose the health, like the XP. Die. I don't actually know.
It is you nice definitely to die and not die though.
Yeah, I assume you can definitely die, but boy, that would be hard to die before your resolve drops.
Have you checked your slash deaths? I forgot to.
0.
Oh, haven't died yet. Ah, dang.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I've died maybe only a couple of times though. I'm still on one hand. Still on one hand. Yeah, not bad.
There you go.
Yeah. So
anyway, it has been fun.
Fun per hour rating. I know normally we like to do billions for our fun per hour, but let's do 1 to 10. 1 to 10. What's your fun per hour so far?
I would say I'm probably at like an 8 or a 9. Like I think they've done a very good job of making me happy just by removing Arch Nemesis because it's
so huge,
a little bit more enjoyable.
Imagine doing this with Arch Nemesis.
No,
that's right.
It's already bad. Like the one thing I still wish they would adjust a little bit is the Tempest, whatever, ghosts and essences, because there are still things where I'm like, I don't actually know what that does, but I care much less now that that's the only thing I don't know, and at least I know the bulk of what I'm fighting against.
Yeah.
And overall, as much as there have been some stuff with the Forbidden Sanctum that have annoyed me, I really, really like the mechanic. I think it's such a clever, fun thing, and I think if you get it into your head that it's not meant to be this full scale experience in the beginning of the game, then it's a little bit easier, because I'm telling myself I've had 2 relics and I already have room for 4 or 5. So clear, and I still have more to unlock. So there's so much more to it that I haven't experienced yet. So I'm looking forward to that side of it. But yeah, for me, I would probably say I'm like an 8, 8.4, somewhere around there.
So if we were to rank
I
this,
give myself
a
7 out of 8. A 7 out of 8.
Okay. All right.
No Ferrari.
It's stupid. Yeah. What's his name? Binotto. Oh my goodness. That was hilarious. He ranked his season a 7 out of an 8.
7 out of an 8.
Yeah. So I guess if we were doing this in the billions, you would be 84 billion out of 100 billion fun per hour.
No, we're doing it out of 10 though. So
yeah, I know. I'm translating it for our fans because we always speak in billions.
What's your fun per hour?
I'm the same. I'm around an 8 or a 9. I'm having a great time. I know that some of the stuff takes some getting used to. Some of my criticisms have been because I had a boss encounter one time. Maybe they're valid criticisms. Maybe I just put myself in a really crappy place and need to learn that, nope, they're going to do that, I don't know, smash or skill 3 times in that same area. So you don't stay there and think it's going to change. You run to the other corner or something. So,
and that's not a bad thing.
Nope.
Having to feel like you have to learn.
And
like
yeah. No, definitely. But so, I mean, I'm leveling. So I'm still, the game to me is maps. I do not care about the campaign. And it's as long as there's maps as an end game, that's what I care about. And so I've been tempted just in that regard to skip all League content. I'm always tempted to skip it. But
I think you almost always do. This one, the XP is so good.
I don't, maybe it's the same, but the XP is so crazy. And I love that there's smaller encounters. And I love that it's all sort of kind of almost a boss in every room. Like there's a unique in there on a regular basis. And that is really nice. So yeah, I was thinking about maybe dropping the Phantasm because I kept coming across rares, but I'm like, no. There seems to be a unique in every room, which is good for those kind of Phantasms or dominating blows. So I'm quite enjoying that aspect, and they seem to be GGG seems to be quite. I mean, they always are, but receptive to some of the suggestions for multiplayer, which is nice. And so, yeah, my fun per hour is definitely high up there for sure. My fun per hour is also now at this point, now that I've finally unlocked my skill as the Reaper, my fun per hour will be highly based on how successful my theory crafting is.
I'm going to have a hard time not playing during After Dark.
Well, we'll just finish up here quick. We'll do After Dark and then we'll play. But
we'll play. Some of us have to edit.
Oh, I'll play for you. Don't you worry about it. But,
okay, sweet.
Okay, so hilarious thing happened. I love all this yellow text, and screw you, Havoc, for being so fantastic at the game and being like Act 10 before.
We get it.
We get it. We get it. But no, like he's just flying through and you see all these different people getting yellows.
Can't even turn that setting off.
Hey, I kind of like that you can't. And then there's, people going into their hideouts. I never knew this was a thing.
This one was amazing.
It was so funny, so original. This character's name is down leveling. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. And I thought I misread it. But in yellow text, and this is like, I'm in near the end of Act 1, maybe Act 2. We're talking like an hour into the game. And all of a sudden it says, down leveling is the first character to reach level 1. And
so
how
funny.
Hilarious is that? They actually took the time to down level their character so they could reach level 1. And I forget, we don't start at 0. We start at 1. And then so it's the first character to reach level 2 that gets it. And so I thought that was hilarious. Like, what was that? An hour into League launch, maybe 2.
I hope they don't get rid of that. I hope they don't get rid of that because that was hilarious. Like, I feel like that's a bug that shouldn't actually happen because you all do start at level 1. But I hope they keep that because that was one of my favorite yellow texts to read.
And they did it like, you look at the name. The character's name is down leveling. So their whole goal, like, that to me is fun per hour. You know what I mean? You know how some people get pissy. It's like, oh, the game crashed. I missed in the first hour. The league's ruined for me because they're so into like taking advantage of certain market surpluses and stuff. And so there's just so many people out there that are really competitive about it. And there's nothing wrong with, practicing and trying to get your, campaign time under 3.5 hours or whatever it is. Screw you if you can do it. But I just love that somebody goes in, they're in the queue, they're waiting, and they got this stupid smile on their face because their whole goal is to down level. Like that's the epitome of fun per hour. So anyway, congratulations to whoever created down leveling. We love you. We think that's absolutely hilarious. So
you got anything else, or are we gonna head to After Dark?
Let's start After Dark really quick. GGG, awesome league start. Like now, every time this happens, we always say, "Awesome job, very stable, unbelievable." and then something happens on the weekend,
like
and then
hours after,
and then,
out.
Then we have to wait an entire week, right? That happens between recording and release, and then so something happens, and then we release, and then it's like, okay, well, we're out to lunch because we weren't paying attention, but that's not the case. Then we have to wait a whole week to be like, oh no, and then we talk about it. But I mean, man, so stable, and
smooth.
They reached their highest concurrent to players again. It was like close to 200. Yeah, it was 243, 250,000, something like that.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, sorry. I can't see very well right now with all the screens, so I can't check the tweet. But yeah, it was a lot. Awesome. So they reached their highest concurrent amount of players. They set another record, but this was stable. Now, there was a thing on their RAQ that said
there's an audio issue. I've noticed it.
Oh no, that was of people randomly disconnecting, and then there was a couple servers, like the Frankfurt server and another one that they were checking out.
They also mentioned the audio thing, and that is one too.
What's the audio one?
There's too many audio things happening at once, so the filter noises aren't triggering, which I hope they get a fix on that, because that's just going to start people to turn off music and turn off. I don't want that, because
filter sounds and boss dialogue, because a lot of the times those are cues for certain attacks. Those are top priority. Like to me, it's weird that that's mixed up. So I mean, obviously it's an issue, but
peak concurrent count 213,480.
13. Good for them. And so anyway, for Justin and I, it was very stable. Like just a normal game, like like it's an 8-year-old game or something. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And you were mentioning what?
Sorry, go ahead. No. I was just going to say, please never, ever, ever stop doing this live update thing you started doing. It is, I like this more than Forbidden Sanctum, more than Arch Nemesis
the
being
RAQ,
gone.
like the recently asked questions.
Freaking love it. What's so
they have
great
a URL for it, man.
I am on it right now. I know that the last time I looked was the 1055 or 1055, so I can just go on here and then just read through them. I just think they've told you if it's been fixed, if they're working on it. I just think it's one of my favorite things they've ever done.
Yeah.
I love that I don't have to look at Reddit. I can see all of GGG's stuff in one place, and it's live updated. Seriously, I'm not even kidding when I say it's one of my favorite things they've ever done.
Yep. I do not disagree. Now, that's not specifically the RAQ. It's something else, but I absolutely love it. I don't
know what the RAQ is. This one's just called the Forbidden Sanctum Launch Live Updates. And it just, it's a forum post that they've got, and it is my favorite thing ever. I seriously love it.
Yeah, it is so super cool. And I love that they just cross stuff out as it's going. And so I think that one's really neat. So type this in. Go to pathofexile.com/RAQ.
RAQ? What does this stand for?
Recently asked questions.
Oh, cool.
And so now
they have the live update thread there.
But this is also stuff that they've just discussed through Twitter or through Twitter or Reddit. And instead they're just consolidating it all here.
That is cool. I do like that.
It's so good because now it's everything. So now they have your thread, they have this thread. There's no reason. To me, it makes perfect sense. You want your product to be consolidated on your website, not on another social media platform.
And I know that was a big focus for them as this league was getting closer. And I think that is amazing. And I can tell you that the majority of people in our own Discord that talk about their issues with Reddit would agree. It's just to go somewhere where GGG is in control of it. And you can still disagree. You can still post your issues. That's totally fine. But to be able to go to one concise place to get the answers from them. I don't care about what a Reddit person has to say. I just don't. I would like to hear what the
GGG
developers are saying.
Right.
And they're responding. I get it. They're responding to the shit that's on Reddit. That's fine. I just don't want to go to Reddit to try and find it. So this is, I can't even tell you how happy I was when I saw that live update thread. I was like, this
it's amazing.
Amazing.
I was commenting a little bit on Reddit about how great this is. And I had some people arguing with me, like, do you realize that they created this Reddit thread and all this kind of, and it was just like garbage. It's kind of their opinion of it, but it doesn't change. Like, I hope they understand that they're still responding. Like, it doesn't change their interaction with Twitter. It doesn't change their interaction with Reddit. It just means that here's a nice here's an envelope of everything we've talked about recently.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, but think about, let's say you do wiki updates, right? Let's say you help out with Path of Building. Now you don't have to scour everywhere. All these important conversations.
If you're having a problem too,
Right.
You can go on and see, oh, they know about it. Because a lot of this stuff is stuff that we would find out in 3.2.0.01, 01A. Now we're seeing some of this stuff live as it's coming up to. I freaking love it. I think it's so good.
For sure. Now, you might like this a little bit more than that.
I doubt it.
We are close to that watery blobby thing that sucks us into the league mechanic.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
We don't have to click on it. I think the host, like the instant owner doesn't have to. And you really like that.
It looks
and
so
it's cool
good.
Standing near it as well. And it looks like your soul's getting sucked in. I remember you commenting on that. I don't know if it's like this for all cloaks, but does your cloak get sucked in? Or maybe you can't tell based on how
I don't have any MTX on my guy yet.
My cloak is the Doom Crows. So it's like just that flying V from Mighty Ducks, but it's the crows. Every individual crow has its soul sucking animation too. So I'm standing there. Yeah. And what's really neat is those crows kind of interact with the game. So they don't do too much when I'm casting SRS, but I remember I was using them with Flame Blast one day. Every time Flame Blast went off, they all recoiled at the same time, which is really cool. So anyway, they're like kind of in here and they're flying close by and it's like their souls kind of getting sucked in. So I've like 11 beams getting sucked into this little, whatever it is, vortex of Forbidden Sanctum.
Awesomeness.
Yeah.
We should also throw out there, I'm sure every single person listening knows. I don't actually know how Tyler knew, but I did not have a clue and the game didn't tell me anything. But if you're not sure how the relic stuff works and how maybe you don't have access to that, FYI, you need to go to Fellshrine Ruins in Act 2. Who knew? I'm not sure where that came from. I know that the story and the lore comes from Fellshrine Ruins, and this is something under Fellshrine Ruins. But to unlock Divinia or whatever the lady is that tells you to touch her, you have to go to Fellshrine Ruins to unlock her and then follow her little quest line.
She's the first time I was surprised because we were able to interact with the league mechanic without talking to her at all.
Except there was always a box that I was like, why can't I click that? And that's why.
Really? I didn't see it because
it showed on the mini map, but it just was a decoration that you couldn't click on. So
anyway, the first time that I saw her as an NPC, she's standing in, who was the prophecy lady? Why can't I remember her name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. In Act 2, she was standing in her spot. She's standing
in her spot, but I'm not moving on until I remember her name.
Navalia?
No. Okay, now we got to Google it.
Navalia?
No, I'm not. No, we're not playing that game. Get out of here. Prophecy. Prophecy lady. Path of Exile. It's coming. Navali. You were way off. Samsonite.
I did it.
I was way off. So anyway, she stands where Navali used to stand. And so I almost missed her because that's a completely out of place.
Did she tell you
and
there?
I have 8 years of completely ignoring that exclamation
mark. I
mark.
never even walk over there.
Yeah. So even though she's a new NPC and Navali's not there anymore, I'm so used to not caring about Navali during the campaign that I saw that exclamation mark.
She said that?
Well, yeah, I tried to listen to her, and I actually it was interesting. It wasn't very long, and it was nice, and I still love the new NPC dialogue the box that they introduced in Heist with like the different sides to the dialogue boxes. But yeah, I almost ignored her, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's not whoever it is, Cassia or whoever, and so then I went and checked and clicked on her, and then it was on part of the quest log after that. So then it said meet this lady in the Fellshrine.
Yeah, I never clicked.
But then who was it? Josh showed up in the Fellshrine and she just started running. There was like no waiting for the party. There wasn't like, okay,
she said a line, but you didn't have to click her unless he clicked and didn't tell us, which is easily possible.
that's a Josh thing. But so anyway, but then we did that and now she's Fellshriny. She introduced us to relics. She gave us our first relic. Nice lady.
And you can they've done this for a while now, but I still love it. But if you click on different lore things, because as you go through the Forbidden Sanctum, if you keep your eyes open, there's different lore markers to click on. The audio plays no matter where you go. When you go back to your hideout, to town, to wherever. It's awesome.
It's gone.
All right, save it for After Dark. Let's wrap this up. Forbidden Sanctum, Forever Exiled, episode 166. I'm Justin, A.K.A. Tags.
Tyler, a.k.a. Wrecker of Days. What does it sound like with the a.k.a.?
Awful.
Okay.
It's awful. hopefully all of you are enjoying Forbidden Sanctum 3.2. We're having a blast. If you're looking for, actually, patrons, we'll catch you in After Dark, which we're about to do right after this. Everybody else will see you next week in 167. If you look for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have the funnest Discord ever, so you should be a part of that. And Patreon and other ways to support the podcast, you can find them down below on our website. Have fun.
Do you say down below or on our website, or down below on our website?
Nope, down below or on our website.
Starting to sound like those commercials where they have to have like that jargon at the end of their commercial for whatever legal reasons, but it's done so fast. They just have to say it, but they can say it as fast as they want. I think we're getting there.